I'm Cass.
I'm Rachel.
And you're listening to The Appliance Girls.
But I think I'm really excited to, get women on the podcast.
I mean, we love men too.
If you had a superpower, any superpower.
Not this one.
Any superpower, what would it be?
If you don't believe in what you're selling or you don't believe in the business, you're not going to be able to sell it.
So you're talking about something else. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Michelle Finney.
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome. Hello.
Hello. Have I said that correctly?
Yes, that's
Yes?
right.
Okay.
Finney.
Yes,
All right.
our guest for the day.
Yes.
We're diving deep into the hospitality industry today.
Yes. I love that we've had someone different, a different woman on the podcast every time that from a different industry. And today it's very exciting to have Michelle on
Yes.
in the hospitality industry, in the hotel industry. And I'm excited to hear the insights into what goes on in that space and, behind the scenes and what that looks like. So
The behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It's very different.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because I can imagine we have this view as like a customer going to a hotel of what it's like, and I'm sure it's actually completely different. So
I imagine it being like super hectic behind the scenes. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, as a customer, you go to a hotel and it's like, oh, very relaxing or good. But it's like behind the scenes, I just imagine people running everywhere, chucking sheets in the dryer and everything. And I'm like, is that really what it's like?
like
I'm
what
not
it's
sure.
like in the movies, what you see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
So we're intrigued to find out.
I feel like you guys saying that, it makes me think about, when you're, watching like a play or people act on stage
Yes.
and you're watching
Yeah.
a musical and then behind there's all these people doing the ropes and
Yeah.
the colours
Yeah.
and the lighting, and it's exactly like that.
Okay, so it
That's
is.
exactly
Okay.
what I'm expecting it to be.
Running around corridors
Yeah.
and trying to meet times and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's for sure.
The outfit changes, but in this instance, it'd be sheet changes.
Yeah.
Everything is like manic in the background.
Yeah.
But we'll dive deep today and we'll find out some inside scoop
Yeah, which
of
would
the
be good.
hospitality industry.
Yeah. And I think a lot of our episodes have been about, women's journeys into where they've been. And I think that's probably where we'll start today because I always love hearing the story of how people got to where they are. And, a lot of times it's been they've sort of either fell into a job or it's come in a different way and it wasn't something they were necessarily set on. But everyone's journey's been so different. So it's exciting to hear. So I think we'll start with your journey into the hospitality industry and how did you get there and was it
Where'd
always
you
a passion?
begin?
Yeah, look, actually, I'm going to be different. I always knew what I
Yeah.
wanted to
Oh,
do.
good.
So
I love it.
this is super different. I know there's so many people go, how do you know?
Yeah.
When I was young, my mum was always saying to me, it doesn't matter what you do. You just have to enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
You do it so much and you'll do it better, if you enjoy what you do every day.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, I would, I'd go on holidays with my family and I'd be dragging everybody to the pool, to the gym. I want to see everything. I want to open every cupboard in every room. Even when I was 8, I was so excited about travel. I would look up at the sky. I would see a plane. No idea where it's going. I just want to be on the plane.
Yeah.
So I've always just been excited about hospitality, about the industry, about travel, and just the luxury of what a hotel stay feels like.
Yeah.
So it's something I've always enjoyed. And then in terms of getting in, I went to Thills Grammar School and during my year 12 year, there was actually a opportunity to join an orientation week at Blue Mountains Hotel School.
Oh, nice.
And one kid from every grammar school got to go and I got chosen to go, and I had this fantastic week up there experiencing what it was like to, do a bachelor in hotel management and see the kind of people that were there and everyone being passionate about travel, about experience and making things personal. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I got early entry in there. So before I graduated, I already had interviewed and had gotten my position in. And I started, I think I was still 17 at the time, a couple of days later, 18, in the program, and did 2.5 years with them studying.
Oh, wow.
Two placements were done as well through that time. So I got the chance to go to Queensland and to Perth to do some work placements and things like that. So that's kind of how I fell in.
Yeah.
I love that because it's a lot of the time in school we're kind of we don't know what to do. We're kind of dibbling and doubling in everything. But to hear that you were so passionate from the beginning, it's something where you kind of knew and that's what you fought for and that's what you wanted to do and here you are today.
Yeah. But also being given that opportunity because in year 12, that's really good because, that obviously had a big impact on you and that sort of directed you where you wanted to go. So that's
What did you
good
have
hear.
to do to get into that?
Yeah.
to be chosen? Did you have to like write something?
Do you know what?
A video entry, like it's like a reality TV show or something?
No, it was actually much easier, but I was studying hospitality. So
Okay, cool.
the kids were chosen based on, who was already studying hospitality. And in grammar schools at the time, you would do your Cert 2 in hospitality. So you're already on the pathway to doing something, in line with that career.
Yeah.
And at my school at the time, there might have been maybe 25 people had chosen to do that course. And then out of the 25, it was really up to the teacher to decide, who is going to utilize this and run with it.
Yeah.
And I just expressed, I know there was myself and another girl really wanted to have the opportunity. We just sat down and expressed like why we really wanted this to be our future. And I guess she saw in me that this was really something I wanted and was aligned with me, and I was lucky.
Yeah, it's good. So what's the course like? What does it involve? So 2.5 years the course is?
Yeah, it's very practical.
Yep.
So when I was there, you go up to Lura in the Blue Mountains and you do 6 months of practical studies, but the hotel's also, the school is built like a hotel. So you practice, you check in the students every week, you do housekeeping in the student rooms. So you get to practice what it's like to be in a real life hotel, but you're also studying business.
Yeah.
So not only are you, running the school restaurants and cooking in the school restaurants and cleaning the beds and doing all of those things, you're also learning, human resources, spa management, front office, how to do, cost control in restaurants and all the kind of things that you're going to do when you get to the hotel, finance, revenue management, accounting.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Listening to that, I feel like I really would enjoy that.
I feel like just listening to that, it doesn't just teach you like how, to be like that for work, but it teaches you a lot of life skills.
Yeah.
Like how to make a bed and how to, do all run the food and everything. Like you said, it's like, that's something I need in my house. So I'm thinking.
See, my daughter's only 10, but I can, just listening to that, I can see that would be something she would absolutely love, because she, every time we go to a hotel, it's the same thing. She explores everything, opens every cupboard, investigates everything that they've got on offer, and I can see her doing that.
Yeah.
So
then when you finished the course, you were finished up there. What was the first role you went into after that?
So part of that time, I did get to do 6-month work placements, one in food and beverage, one in hotels. Okay, and then after graduating, 4 days later, I got the call. I got a job at Park Hyatt Sydney.
Oh my gosh.
Luxurious, beautiful, and in all honesty, the perfect training ground. It is such a luxurious property that there are really high expectations from guests. So you really understand and learn like the real concept of customer service. Like you have to really make it. And it was so much fun. I spent about 9.5, almost 10 years with them at Park Hyatt Sydney. I worked in reception for quite a while, made my way into the supervisor role. And then I had an opportunity to be the executive for the general manager, who's now currently the general manager at Capella Sydney. But at the time, he was with us at Park Hyatt. And something I learnt in that role, which was really amazing, was that your managers are just people.
Yeah.
Because before that, I was so scared to talk to leadership or to managers. You think, oh my goodness, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't, but you realize everyone's human and everyone has, the empathy and the qualities that you have in yourself, so you don't need to be scared. So that was a great opportunity to kind of understand that people in these great positions, like they're just like you as well.
And they started where you were starting. So it's the same process. But I like that, going up the ranks. So obviously at the moment you're at Meriton Suites and you're the hotel general manager at the Kent Street.
That's right.
Yes, Meriton. So that's a pretty big position and a leadership role. And what does that involve? You in charge of the whole thing?
So it's very much operational based with Meriton. So when I first had the opportunity with them, I started off at Mascot, one of their airport properties. But obviously, as you said, now today I'm at Kent Street. It's one of the largest in their portfolio. But not only that, that does also house all their offices. So you've got the wonderful Harry Triggervoff there, his family, all of our owners, Meriton Group directors, but also Meriton Suites directors as well.
Yeah.
So they're on site every day. Obviously adds a little bit of fun pressure to the day-to-day, right?
Drop-in visits.
Anyone could walk past.
Yes. But obviously underneath me and my team, we're looking towards mainly front office, housekeeping and maintenance.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to get the day-to-day runnings of the hotel, keep the rooms in line, make sure there's in the best condition that they can be before they, proceed with things like renovations.
Yeah.
Cleanliness is obviously very important for a guest stay as well. So working with housekeeping on that, and front office, and adding any services we can for guests, and making sure that obviously they leave happy, which is what we want.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many staff would you have working under you in terms of house cleaning and front desk, everything?
In terms of like what we have under myself directly with Meriton, looking at about 32 people.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big team.
Big team. And then you've got housekeeping, which we actually do some subcontracting. So
Okay.
we do extra labour. So on a given day, if we're running full occupancy, we could have up to 50 or 60 people in housekeeping operating to turn around all the
Wow.
rooms as
Yeah.
well.
That
a lot.
is insane. That's
Yeah.
what I mean about the running behind the
Yeah.
scenes. Like, because checkouts like 10 these days? What is checkout time?
Yeah, we do 10,
Yeah.
but some hotels are generous. They do 11, but
Yeah.
that's kind of the going rate, 10, 11.
Well, in the Philippines, they do 12 checkout and then check in at 2. So that gives them 2 hours to go through and clean every single room. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, and I've been thinking about this a lot when we stay at hotels, and I'm like, how do they turn around these rooms so quick? Like, there's a lot of rooms in some hotels.
But even the logistics of it, like how
Yeah.
does that, I can't even imagine the logistics of planning of when they go to what room and how that works. Like, is that a day-to-day thing that you're constantly and your team are looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, obviously, looking well in advance, we need to know, what are our numbers in and out each day?
Yeah.
How many staff do we need to achieve that?
Yeah.
But then, how do we increase productivity? Is it putting trolleys in so that they don't
Yeah.
need to go back? Like, it depends on the layout of the hotel, what's going to be more successful for them.
Yeah.
Like, how are they going to move around the properties? How do they know which one to go to first? Like, you don't want to
Yeah.
go to a room that's still occupied. But then you have these fantastic technologies coming through today that actually allow room attendants to use mobile devices.
Yeah.
And it will tell them when someone checks out. And it'll also allow them to know which rooms are checking in or who's already
okay.
here.
Yeah.
So it can prioritize which ones they clean.
Yeah.
But it's still an incredibly tight turnaround.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And something, I guess, when you stay at a hotel, you don't necessarily think about when you get to the hotel and you go, oh, my room's not ready. Like,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating. So it's, I guess, trying to see both sides.
Yeah, for sure.
It's having that understanding of what goes on behind the scenes, because it is chaos. And when I've left a hotel and I realize like it's a lot to clean. I mean, when I try to clean my own house, it takes me hours and hours and hours. I can't imagine cleaning hundreds of rooms to get ready for the next lot of guests. But as you said, technology. What have you noticed the biggest changes? Because how long have you been now out of in the industry? How many years?
I would say about 14, 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the biggest advances and changes in technology that have helped the industry, do you think, from in that time?
Oh, so many things. Look, at the moment for Meriton specifically, they're slowly transitioning in the next month or so to a program called Opti.
Yeah.
And this is something that is so fantastic for a communication tool between, the staff. So, for example, you go to the front desk and you say, I would like extra towels. They're going to pop that in, and then the team member who does it is going to start the job, complete the job.
Yeah.
And if anything goes wrong in the process, there's a lot of ways that we can go back and track accountability, or we can have a look and see what went wrong. But also, like I was saying before with room attendants, giving them the ability, instead of knocking on every door to find out who's checked out, they get to know, okay, this one's gone, this one isn't, this one has an arrival, this one's a VIP, so maybe I need to do a little extra touch. There's things that it gives them the ability rather than just going off paper.
Yeah.
It gives them the information
Straight away.
first.
Yeah.
And that's so important, I feel, in any role, that you have all the information before you do anything. Because, like you said, it might be someone that is VIP, or it may be Harry Triggervoff going to stay there for the night. You never know. And, just to give that extra touch, like you said, is super important in anything, I guess.
Yeah. Now, obviously, your path to leadership to where you are now, have there been mentors along the way to get to where you are, or?
Yeah, look, I have one boss, her name's Tamara. She has been with me for many years. She actually transitioned over to Meriton a few months prior to myself moving over.
Yeah.
So we've been together a long time, and she's been such a fantastic leader and I guess helped me develop, my strengths and my areas of weakness as well. We all have them.
Yeah.
But what I really love about Tamara is actually kind of like what you guys are doing here now. She inspires women to, she brings them up with her, and it's so fantastic to watch. And of course, the guys as well.
Yeah.
Don't leave them out. They're wonderful too. But it's nice to see from her and our director of HR at Meriton, we have almost a 50-50 split now in female-male diversity in the hotel manager role, which I think is so fantastic. And I think it's just about, making sure we're hiring the right people and giving the right people the right opportunities. But seeing her, do that among many of the leaders has been really nice to see.
No, that's good. I love hearing when people, on their journeys have got someone that they've looked up to or provided that mentorship, or if that's what you call it. It's just basically learning from each other and just showing up for each other and, understanding. I think.
Was she at Hyatt previously?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I had been at Hyatt for longer.
Yeah.
But when she transitioned into Hyatt, she was the 2IC, so second in charge. And I actually left Hyatt as the housekeeping manager.
Okay.
Wow.
So going through that was probably one of the biggest highlights of my career. I don't think there will be anything that will ever top that.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you think about it, being a manager is hard, but how do you convince people to do that job every day and do it perfectly and well? And I don't even want to clean my own house. How am I going to clean someone else's? So it's really rewarding to find a way to lead with empathy and lead with your heart and understand people and what motivates them and get them to come together, because not only is it such a tough job, there's a lot of diversity, the cultural diversity in housekeeping as well. So getting everyone on the same page.
Yeah. And I love hearing that, your leadership style and talking about empathy. And do you feel what's your leadership style, do you think?
I always say that I lead with empathy. I lead with my heart. So that's how I always describe it if someone asks. But I think, I've been told in the past, maybe I'm too kind or too nice. But I think when you look at the teams and you see, I genuinely care about everybody and I want them to get along. And if there is conflict and things like that, I'm going to work towards, resolving it and getting the team collectively towards one goal and understanding each other. And I think a lot of the time, old school styles, we're just looking at the business, what's the bottom dollar, how much revenue are we making, and of course that's still super, super important and that won't go away. But I think you'll find that if you show a team that you care and you understand them and you make the business goals align with both the business and them, you're going to get less turnaround, you're going to have a more productive team, your guests are going to be happier, and you're going to make more money. So.
I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, that's something that Rach and I are trying to do at the moment, and we've trying to do for several months now. But it's just understanding everyone's different personalities, how they work together, how they bounce off each other, because there's always going to be conflict in work, no matter what. You're with these people every day, sometimes, like we've said previously, more than your family. And it's you've got to understand how they kind of react to things, how they work, how maybe they don't like someone talking to them as much as another person likes talking. It's understanding, and that empathy is so important as well, especially when you're dealing with customers, because we've tried to work on, it's so easy to think of people as just kind of like a ticket and not personalize it to who you're speaking to, that they're a human. So I love that you do that with your team, and I think that's very important in leadership.
But showing that fact that you actually care, and that makes a huge impact. And obviously that's why you've been so successful in what you're doing. And you can see that with, how you manage your team.
So in the housekeeping role, when you were that manager, I know you said you were trying to get them motivated, because cleaning is not the funnest job in the world. What kind of tools or tips would you give to anyone that kind of is trying to motivate their staff for a job that is not something that's the most exciting thing in the world?
I think we spend too much time talking about what we did wrong.
Yeah.
And not enough time talking about what we did right. And I remember being in my junior years in hospitality, and often you'd only talk to the leader because you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
You've checked someone into a dirty room, or you've, forgotten to clean something in a cupboard, or, all these negative things are pointed out more frequently. And I think the important thing is to reward successes every day, even if they're small, so that when it does come to, take failure as a lesson, take it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like I always say to the team, it's okay that you made a mistake. Making a mistake is great. I learnt from it, you learnt from it, the whole team learnt from it. We're just not going to do it again. And if you didn't do it, maybe we would have, and we would have done it worse.
Yeah.
So it's important to see it as, a success rather than a failure, and just reward and encourage and motivate in that way, rather than, I mean, of course we still have to say when things go wrong, but again, using it as a lesson rather than,
for sure,
intense and aggressive feedback.
Yeah, because sometimes mistakes as well, it's something that may not be necessarily on that person, but it could be a fault in the system or something that the business didn't know about, that it's like, hey, actually we can improve on that in this way, and then the whole business is benefiting. It's not just that team member that's made this mistake. It's like there could be a flaw in the way, you're doing something, or a process that can now be improved, and that's important.
Yeah, but we're all human, and we make mistakes. Everyone makes, there's no one that doesn't make a mistake. So it's like being okay to acknowledge, and I like that you said, speaking to them and saying it's okay, we all make mistakes, but we can learn from it. And that's how we need to approach everything, and not be scared of that failure, because and I think that's what, with young kids, that's what we need to instill in them, and that it's okay to make a mistake, and it's not the end of the world, and chuck a tantrum just because we failed, because we all fail.
Yeah. And I think it is very, like, you're right. We do focus a lot on the negatives, and there's a lot of ways where sometimes leaders, they know that you're doing great things, but they just don't express it because it's not something that comes up every day. Whereas like when something negative happens or there's a mistake made, it's very easy to say, well, this was a mistake. It's like there's no coming out being like, oh, you made that bed so well today, or you know what I mean? Like the praise is just, sometimes the praise is harder to give because it's, you don't want to, give too many praise, and then you don't want to give too less. It's finding that happy medium, I guess.
But it's finding that balance because you're bogged down with work and so busy, but it's then actually going, no, I need to take the time to actually give some praise to my staff.
Yeah.
So.
And you find that when you do that, you enjoy your job as well.
Yeah.
I've been in moments where, 80% of the day is, negative, or it's great to flip the switch and make it 20% and, enjoy the wins for the majority of the time, because then you'll find more happiness enjoying what you're doing as well, and you can give more.
Yeah. Love that.
Now, as the manager, were you, I guess, what kind of tasks were you doing in that role? Were you in there with the team, like doing daily tasks with them as well, or were you kind of doing more like reports and kind of stuff like that? What were your daily tasks in that role?
In housekeeping?
Yeah.
I think at the time that I did housekeeping, we were coming out of COVID,
okay,
and we were really struggling with labour force, because obviously a lot of internationals went home. People who had experience in hotel industry weren't here anymore. That's probably why I got such a great opportunity to do something I hadn't done before. It was great to see that my managers trusted me to do something different and to lead a team I had no experience in. But it was so wonderful to teach me how to listen. Sometimes as leaders we talk too much, and when you don't, it's not your best skill. You listen, and that's really where that empathetic leadership comes from. It really taught me how to listen, and I think given that there was such a huge labour shortage at the time, there was a lot of proactivity involved. Like obviously we're doing things like stock take and ordering. I don't want my team to run out of linen and make their job harder, or not have the right chemicals or the tools to do their job, and not let them succeed. But at the same time, we created a job which we called the stripper role.
I love it.
So you would go with a big bucket, a big crate, and you would go into all of the rooms as soon as the guest checks out, strip the dirty linen, remove the dirty towels, remove the rubbish, which takes a pretty significant chunk out of their time. And it actually allows them to, A, feel like you are supporting them and you're getting your hands dirty, but B, it also gives them more time in the room to make it shine. So if they're not removing someone's alcohol bottles from the party from the night before or their 12,000 long stem roses or their heart-shaped balloons. They actually get the time to really make that special for the next guest as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's good. Now, what are the biggest challenges that you've faced working in the industry, do you think? I mean, there might be many, but...
Yeah, I think for me, one of my personal challenges is I am very much a perfectionist.
Yeah.
So I have struggled from time to time with things like work-life balance, with a bit of burnout, because I just want to do the best I can all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be hard for me on a day off to, switch off or turn my phone off or not read that email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't help myself, you know? I think it's still a learning lesson. You still get there, but it's important just to make that time to do things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I love getting my nails done. I love going shopping. I love traveling, making sure you make the time for the things that I love, as well as the work.
Yeah.
I feel like we struggle with that a lot as well. It's just so easy to check your phone, see that email and just go, all right, I'll action it now. But in reality, it's like, it's the weekend, it's your day off, whatever it is. It's like, it's your time. Leave the email. It can wait a day. But it's like, you just want to get it done. And you have, like you said, that perfectionism that you want to just give that impression to the customer or whoever you're applying to that you're on it straight away. But sometimes we then kind of, that affects us mentally because we're kind of bringing it home, and it's hard to split the two.
Yeah.
Because with that work-life balance, how does that work? Because obviously with your hours that you're working, obviously would have changed over the time in the positions that you're in. Obviously, how was that? Because obviously would there be times you're working overnight and...
Yeah, for sure. I think moving up in the ranks, obviously you do much different work when you start in hospitality. You're doing, evening shifts, overnight shifts. I did night manager quite a few times as well. So definitely adjusting your life around those different hours. You miss things like Christmas. You miss things like, the New Year's with your friends or someone's birthday. Like there are things that you do have to sacrifice in hospitality. But I think when you come back and make that environment at work really positive, then you can make, and I don't know if I necessarily like saying, family at work, but you do make a family at work, and you want to spend those days. And some of the best New Year's I've ever had has been, celebrating with guests, having a drink at midnight and, enjoying it with the colleagues and seeing the positives out of that as well.
Yeah.
And obviously shifting into a management, I now get to enjoy the public holidays and I have a little bit more flexibility because obviously I know I have my weekends off. But in all honesty, it was a lot of fun while you're younger to experience all those hours. And you realise, if you're working, a 7 a.m. start instead of a 9, you get out at 3 and you've still got a whole afternoon to enjoy the beach and it kind of works when you're young.
Yeah. I agree. I used to be a bartender when I was younger, and it's the same thing. Like, you work the night shift and then you're like, I've got all day to just relax and do stuff, but you're young, and I feel like we could back it up then. Now, these days, I don't think I could do that. I'd be sleeping the whole day.
It's about growing up.
Yeah.
So,
and you're right. We don't like to say, we've got our work family, but it's true. You do spend a lot of the time with these people. You build relationships, and sometimes you have the best moments with them, so it's fine. I think it's fine to say that you work family.
Yeah, you have your home family and your work family.
Yeah, split the two. You have both. Best of both worlds.
That's good. That's good. What I think, just hearing your journey in becoming a leader, but then seeing you move up the ranks, I think it's so important for young people to listen to, because I know we've spoken about before. Young people, I think these days think that they can go straight into a leadership role and they think they're ready, but I think it's good for them to hear that there's a process and there's time and there's different roles that you need to do to actually get there. What advice would you give to any young person that wants to go into the hotel industry?
I really resonate with what you said, because I agree, everybody has got that tunnel vision to getting to the top as quick as possible.
Yeah.
But, for me, an example going back to when I was housekeeping manager, at the time I was looking at front office management and I had tunnel vision to go into, the second in charge role or move up, continue. I didn't think I needed to sidestep or try a new department, and I was convinced I did it. And you know what, as I said, it's going to be the biggest learning lesson I've had, and I think it fundamentally shaped my leadership to success. Like if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be where I am today, I don't think, or as successful at what I do if I hadn't tried out different departments and different skills. And had just exposure to more people and more time and grow up a little bit as well. And I think as well, like soft skills are so important these days. You know, even things as small as like, you know, don't be late and be professional and try not to have conflict with team members and, you know, communicate well and have empathy for the guest or have the ability to listen and see another point of view. These things are really important because as you go up to the leader, if you've only mastered the checklist, it's going to be really hard for you to convince other people to master the checklist.
And do you think that your team, I guess because you have tried all the departments and all the different, you know, ranks you've gone up, do you think that allows your team to kind of not respect you, I guess, but let's say respect you more and as a leader because you know kind of every task, you've done that role and you've been in that position so you can understand more what they're going through as a team member?
Absolutely. Like, for example, like let's say somebody does check into a dirty room, you know, I have empathy for that and I look back and I ask myself, okay, how did that happen? Like, and I keep going back like about 5 times, like, how did that happen? How did that happen? And from the experience of doing things like that, you actually can understand, okay, I can understand how this happened to the staff member. And then when you go in to try and find resolutions, like it's not necessarily the staff member's fault. Maybe there's an issue with lifts or there's an issue with the amount of product they have in their pantries or the number of staff that they have on duty, or like there's so many issues and you know from experience what might have happened during your time when you were that employee. So you can really feed on those times. So I think it's important to take the time to do as much as you can before you shoot up into the top.
Because it's like if they just go straight into that position, there's no understanding of what goes on in those areas. So it's hard to kind of lead a team when you don't really know the ins and outs of that particular role. So I think it's super important for you that you went through the different departments, you know the roles, you know how to do them, you know kind of the processes. So then you can help your team as well better themselves at their jobs.
I like it's just so important that they listen to that because we deal with young people on a day-to-day basis and you know, just having that understanding, I think, and learning the ropes. And we've said before with Mick and Diane, owners of the Appliance Guys, how they've done every job from being on the road to sweeping the factory floor. And so they have an understanding. And I think that's important in any business that the business owner's done it from the bottom.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I think is important is don't wait for the job role to be your best self. You know, I think often I see, you know, a junior staff member, they see a position is now available, they interview well, but leading up to that interview, they haven't demonstrated like the behaviors that you would look for in a leader or, you know, all those soft skills I was talking about before, like are actually really critical to be able to demonstrate every day and not just at the time the interview is.
So it's like they need to imagine as if they're getting interviewed every single day. And then and act like that every day.
Well, that's basically the thing. Like you said, if they're coming for an interview, you know, to step up to a leadership role, you're not just going to look at that interview. You're going to look at their past behaviour and say, well, I don't think you're, you know, maybe right for this role because X, Y, Z. But everyone thinks it's kind of on that one interview where they just prove themselves and that's it. It's like, well, no, it's a lead up. You've got to be that person the whole time. And I think it's quite like, I don't know what the word is, maybe inspiring to see like someone that started, you know, from the bottom and who is started quite young, but then you can see how much they've grown in their career and see how much they've changed. And I guess it makes you really proud as a leader to say, wow, like they have really progressed and really proved themselves. And you can actually see that they're trying and seeing that they're changing and stepping up and being proactive without you having to tell them.
Because you would have seen a lot of people move through the ranks.
Yeah, of course. Like something that I enjoy so much about my job is, you know, bringing those people up with you and teaching them, developing them, seeing their passion as well for their progression is really exciting. And when you see somebody and you go, wow, you've just really got it. And you meet people like that and go, oh, I'm going to help you because you know how to help yourself. I want to help you too. Like you're incredible. So it's fun to see people, you know, succeed in your team and move up and it's nice to hear the thanks from them for, you know, the support you've given them as well. It makes your job worth it.
100%. Makes you want to go to work every day and be there for them. And it's good.
Now, a typical day, what does your, if you can describe it, what would your typical day look like at work?
So obviously I'll arrive at work and I will check in and see what's happened like within the last couple of hours. I haven't been there. If something has happened with a guest or a staff member, like you have to remember as well, like we're in charge of WHS and things like that. So we need to make sure everyone's safe, everyone's as happy as they can be. They will start with our department heads to meet. So housekeeping, maintenance, front office will all meet collectively together to talk about what's happening that day, any challenges, anything that we can help each other with, or anything that's coming up within the week or the month that we need to plan ahead. So I think really the day-to-day is really about communication. Making sure we're all aligned, we all understand what the challenges are ahead and that we can, you know, come together to do the best we can. And then moving from there, I do spend quite a significant amount of time reviewing guest feedback. So going through platforms like not just, you know, our own guest feedback, but also things like booking.com and Agoda and Google. I find that it helps me specifically if I read all of them to understand, okay, what are the patterns? You know, are there things emerging that is something that we need to focus on? And it helps to make sure that when I'm, you know, putting projects through for maintenance or for housekeeping, that we're going to do something that is the most impactful. Or even if it's like a customer thing, you know, maybe there's a lot of rooms that aren't ready at 3:00. Okay, let's dig back and find out what the fundamental reason is so we can resolve it and make our guests happier. So I think really the I guess crux of my job is problem solving. So I'm reading everything, reviewing everything, seeing that everything is in the right condition, and then if it's not, problem solving, and then utilizing the team to see what their feedback is and what else they think we should do.
Because you're managing, say, like you said, over 30 people, and then you've got your housekeeping staff, but then you're managing all the customers that are in your hotel. So it's like hundreds and hundreds of people every day that you're really in charge of. So it's like, it's not an easy thing.
And I think morning meetings are super important. Like we've brought them in here and it's just getting everyone together for 5-10 minutes, whatever it might be. It could be an hour, but just to get everyone together, just to say, this is the plan for the day. Does anyone need help with anything? Are we behind on anything? You know, what can we catch up on? It's just the communication is so important because generally you just come to work, go to your desk and get to work. But it's like, are we okay? Like, is everyone good? Do you guys need help? Do you need help catching up on anything? Are the tasks getting completed? And it's just that 5 minutes in the morning just to say, all right, we're good to go and let's start the day. Why not?
I think, communication is definitely key and definitely important for the success of any team and manager. Because as soon as communication's out the window, then you definitely see what happens. So.
I feel like I try not to gatekeep as much as possible. So if there's information that comes to me, whether it's something that's happening in the future, maybe a new program, a new room type, a new, you know, added brand to the portfolio, anything like that, I want to make sure that that's communicated top down so everybody has the information. At the end of the day, I feel like if one person doesn't have it and they're the one person that got asked, then everybody doesn't know. So it's important that I try to make sure that what I know, everybody in the team knows, even, you know, the most frontline staff.
I love that.
Yeah, that's good. Now, in terms of guests, are there any funny guest stories that you can share or any funny moments that have happened along the way?
Funny moments. I have once entered a room where all of the furniture was gaffer taped to the ceiling.
To the ceiling? Wow.
And a little sign name was there to say that, you know, someone's been. But there's so many interesting things. I've walked into a room after New Year's where the carpet was complete. I couldn't even see the carpet. It was completely crunched with Dorito chips, like the whole way through the room. So there's been some interesting things. Like, there's never a dull moment.
Oh my gosh.
So actually the movies are real because, like, you know, when you watch The Hangover and you see, like, does that happen? Are there rooms that are trashed all the time?
For sure, yes. Okay. Yeah. And I think that's where things like pre-authorizations and credit card holdings come in.
Let's just go back to the gaffer tape on the ceiling for a second. What? Did you get the furniture down or did you call
collectively,
for help?
We need some help, right? So we've got the boys to come in and help us get that down. But honestly, the things that you can see in rooms are super, super bizarre.
That is bizarre. I've never heard of that one. That is a new one.
I love that one. That's good. I mean, not good for you, but it's good to hear.
Did they go stay there that night purely to tape the gaffer tape to the ceiling?
Maybe.
Or were they there and they were like, hey, let's gaffer tape the furniture to the ceiling?
It was, I guess, I can't remember their name, but it was like their tag,
like
whatever their
been
name
here.
was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they get hit up for more money?
Did that get taken out of their bond or?
Yeah, so I guess depending, if someone has a really big party and maybe, someone's accidentally punched the TV or someone's punched a hole in the wall or some crazy things happen, of course, that will have costs involved.
Yeah.
It usually comes out of something like a deposit.
Yeah.
Most of the time people are pretty understanding with it, but, from time to time people will not obviously want to pay the extra cost involved.
I can imagine schoolies hotels would have some crazy things happening
I wouldn't even
for that week.
Yeah. Well, because
imagine the bonds coming out of there.
Well, our commercial division, we do a lot of supply for you guys, and we get the amount of remotes. I find that we're getting TV remotes. How many do they just get stolen? Do people just take them?
I assume that a lot of them get taken.
Yeah.
I'm also questioning if people know how to change a battery, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially.
But definitely it's on the hot list. People take things all the time.
Yeah.
Like sound systems can be dangerous to leave out because everything's wireless now. So if you put a sound system there and people go, oh, it's pretty cool.
What's the biggest thing that's been taken, do you think?
Like maybe like a mini bar fridge.
A mini bar fridge was taken.
Sorry? They just put it in their luggage. All right, we're off.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
That's crazy.
It's like, have you guys seen the Friends episode where Ross is like unscrewing the light bulb and like,
yeah.
But then as well, like, do you not think you're not going to get charged for the mini bar fridge or like they've got your details on file. They know who stayed there.
Do you know, I think like a lot of things though people might think of free, like for example, like robes.
Yeah.
Usually like that's something part of a linen contract.
Yes.
Like
they're
not free. So
the
people might,
and the robes
I can
and
understand
everything.
maybe people might not think that.
Yeah.
They're
That I
costable,
understand.
yeah.
The robes and the slippers and everything I understand.
But not a
mini
bar
fridge, I'm not sure if that's in the room cost.
You just go to checkout and you go, I'm just taking the bar fridge with me.
You're meant to take the stuff in the mini bar fridge, not the actual bar fridge itself. And I guess with VIPs, has there been any like celebrity guests that you've kind of had in either hotels over your time?
Definitely, yes.
Like secret celebrity guests?
Under different names.
Park Hyatt was probably quite a breeding ground
Yeah.
for celebrities. So many different people have stayed there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm meant to give you all the names, but some really, really exciting people I've had the opportunity to speak to.
Yeah. Would they check in with their own name or an alias?
Oh, an alias.
Okay,
Absolutely
yes.
an alias.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I thought that was just in the movies as
Yeah,
well.
I know.
Checking in with an alias name.
So all these things they're seeing in the movies actually happen.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
But again, I think what's really exciting about that is just like my exposure to, being a personal assistant at an earlier age.
Yeah.
Yes.
You realize that celebrities are also just people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're human and they want the same interactions as you do most of the time. Like, obviously there's people who are probably more on the higher end of expectation, but most of them are just people. And, I've had the chance to see a lot of people who are, say, Victoria's Secret models who we all think are absolutely, and they are absolutely stunning, but I think a lot of marketing goes into that as well. And as beautiful as they are, they're also as beautiful as my best friend or the girl next door. So I think it's good to have the opportunity to see that.
In real life, to be exposed to it.
Yeah, just seeing them as a human, not just the person that you see.
The person that or their name, their brand name.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, that's exciting. I like hearing that what we see in the movies is actually happening. Now that next hotel I stay at, I'm going to be, I analyze everything at a hotel anyway because I just love it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be analysing everything and the guests, and I'm going to be checking everyone's luggage to make sure they're not taking something.
But definitely take the amenities.
Yeah.
You got to take all
We'll
of that.
take the mini bar fridge next time. Do you find as well that when you go stay at other hotels that you are like judging everything along the way.
It's so hard not to.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when I first started off, I also worked in restaurants.
Yeah.
My first job was actually, I was a barista at Gloria Jean's.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of roles in
Everything.
hospitality.
Yeah.
So I definitely judge.
Yeah.
But also I have an understanding.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not going to be the kind of person who is yelling or screaming or complaining in any way, because I have such an
silently
understanding. Yeah. But I think also, like, it helps me see when someone does something really well. Like, if you have someone check you in at a hotel and they've gone through that whole process and they've done everything flawlessly, most people wouldn't notice, like, they've done everything correctly.
Yeah.
And for me, I go, wow, that was a really exceptional, like, check-in experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, because you're going to judge, but at the same time, like you said, the positives, like
gonna
we would
acknowledge-
go,
yeah.
that was nice, but it's not something that we would go, oh, that's like above and beyond that they did for that.
Yeah, because we don't know the checklist of exactly what they have to do.
Like Peninsula in Philippines, I thought was amazing. Like they checked us in, she literally walked us to our room, took us inside, and I was like, wow, this is like luxe. I was like, this is luxury. And it's just those like little things that make you feel like special.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you want to feel when you go to a hotel. You want to feel that luxury and you want to feel special, because you're paying, you know, to go on a holiday and relax. And it's like just the little things, you're like, wow.
But I will say with Meriton, although I've stayed at Meriton in Queensland, Sydney and in Melbourne, and they've all been amazing. The experiences there, even so, like in Melbourne, we go there for the Formula One. They always deck it out with Red Bull fridges and little mini cars, and it's always an experience when we've stayed at Meriton. I think that's been the success of Meriton. Do you feel like that's what the success for Meriton is? Do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I draw on a guest that we have in-house at the moment at Kent Street, and they've been staying with us since COVID, and they come back. They're American couple, and they were here in COVID and they needed somewhere to stay. And, you know, one of the benefits of Meriton Suites is that you have like live-in ability. Like you can do your washing, you can cook, you can, it's a home.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of places really want to create a home away from home feeling.
Yeah.
And I think they did this so well with this couple. They come back half a year every year and they stay in the same room.
Oh my God, love that.
And I think it's about the authenticity. Like they know the team.
Yeah.
They love talking to the team and they know each other. You know, they know what Trixie's favourite food is or, you know, what restaurants they like to go to. And I think it's just about having like the genuine connection.
Yeah.
And that's why they come back, you know, creating that feeling of home and really knowing an individual, because at the end of the day, I think luxury is a personal experience.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like that because when we've gone and we've been there a second time, and I know it's like written down on the paper, but they're like, oh, welcome back. And I'm like, oh, it makes you feel special.
Yeah,
but
just like,
I know it's written down on the paper, but I'm like, actually makes you feel good.
And I think just like as well, referring to people by their name, it just makes it so much more personal as well. Like, you know, welcome back, Rachel.
Yeah.
You know, it's very personal. It makes you feel like you're special.
Yeah.
And that's important as a guest.
Yeah. But no, definitely I've loved every experience staying at Meriton. So it's been good. Now, in terms of your future, what are you where do you see yourself moving forward in this industry?
I really love to, I guess, continue to grow.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm at a general manager level now. I'll probably continue through that and learn a little bit more about different styles of hotels and properties. But obviously the aim is to get into a regional role and look after multiple people who are doing my job now and helping them lead properties.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the goal. Obviously hospitality is a very international business as well, so I'm not sure where that will take me, but obviously Sydney is home.
Yeah.
But we'll see, I guess, where the wind blows.
Yeah. I love that you're still striving to next move up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
And
I like that.
Yeah, I like that you're open as well to going other places, because sometimes we can be very scared of change and moving, but you're so open to, you know, maybe another country.
Yeah. Would you ever work internationally?
I definitely have thought about it.
Yeah.
I would. My partner's Brazilian, so he's definitely keen on
Keen.
travel. He's excited. And I would. My only concern or hesitation I've had with it is that I only speak English.
Yeah.
And I'm scared my leadership style is so, I guess, warm and caring and compassionate. I would really put the pressure on. I'd feel the obligation to learn their language if it's not English, because I feel like I wouldn't be the asset if I couldn't understand them.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that would be a really big additional pressure.
Yeah.
But it's not something I wouldn't put myself up for.
Yeah,
And I think it's still possible to be a great leader without the language.
Yeah.
It's
I
think
just
so
a lot
too.
harder.
Because if you're having someone translate for you, they might not translate what you're saying in a compassionate way. So it might come across different. So
And
that would be hard.
a lot of cultural differences in different countries as well. Like they might take something that you think is okay, like offensive or whatever it is, and it's hard to understand. But learning a language is hard as well.
Yeah.
If you don't
Especially
have
as
to,
an
it's very
adult.
hard.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. But maybe you can go to an English-speaking country.
Yes. Yeah, we'll put that down on the list.
London or the US or, somewhere there.
Yeah.
Could be something. But yeah, it's good that you're open to it. Like you're not shut off straight away about anything.
And there's still so much to learn, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's ever changing, I
absolutely.
feel, in that industry. So
Yeah.
that's good. I mean, I've learned a lot today. And
The inside scoop.
Inside scoops. But then I just love hearing your journey and then hearing that your journey was different in the fact that you were set on exactly what you wanted to do. And I also love seeing that as well. And you were determined to get to where you want to be and, you set yourself on that path at the young age of 17. So,
Yeah.
I love hearing that too, which is really, really good.
Yeah, and I think that inspires the younger generation that they can know what they want to do and go for it and not just kind of wait and see how it pans out. I think that's important as well because like we've said previously, in high school it's very like, we're in high school. What do we do next? Do we go to do we go to uni? Do we take a gap year? Do we do this? Do we do that? There's so many options that if you've got something in your head, it's like, okay, why not go for it?
But then I also loved hearing when you said before as well that it's 50-50 split in management at Meriton.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. And obviously what our aim of the podcast is we're trying to highlight women on their journeys and in inspiring roles. And obviously that's why we had you come on as well because we think you're doing an amazing job at what you do and you're inspiring and you're leading the younger generation.
Yeah.
And so I think, it's so good to hear that it's a 50-50 split and, women are getting recognised in those positions, which is good. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Important.
Yeah. Well, we always end on a question. I do have a question.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I know. We always forget to add a
I was
question.
thinking something.
I've got a
but I was
question.
like, I'll leave it to her.
What, in all your travels, what would you say would be your favourite hotel that you've ever stayed at?
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
that's a good one.
My favorite hotel.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had so many. I'm just thinking about where I had just stayed. I went to Bali recently.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible property, but the name is escaping my brain right now. It used to be a Ritz-Carlton and it got transitioned and bought over by another property and it was incredible.
Yeah.
I'll share the name with you
Yeah.
guys later.
Yeah.
But they had essentially had one property and then had, added on an additional 3 locations. So there was kind of 4 hotels in one area and each area had different pools. One had a beach club and then there was all different restaurants at each section and there's a little tram that takes you around to all of the different
That's
locations.
cool.
And it was just really nice to just be there, relax,
Yeah.
enjoy and just have so many facilities inside the hotel. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, that's great.
That's cool. I like that.
What's yours, Rach?
Um,
I'm trying to think.
I have a favourite, but it's the W Hotel in Singapore is actually my favourite hotel. It's got like an amazing pool, but it's also the breakfast is like insane. Like amazing.
Hotel breakfast is important,
Yeah,
right?
like I love a good
Hotel breakfast is super important.
Yes.
But it had like 3 different sections and
Yeah.
they had like this Nutella station. And so my son, like he loves
Amazing.
chocolate. So every morning he's like just there at the Nutella station. And then my daughter's at the omelette station. Like it was just,
Yeah.
I love it there.
I
favourite.
don't know what my favorite would be, but there's good ones.
Yeah.
I just don't know what my favorite would be. Like Atlantis in Dubai is really amazing.
Yeah.
For kids.
Yeah.
Marriott in Surfers was actually really good for kids too because they had like the beach kind of vibes.
Yeah. Actually, we went to one in Croatia called Falkensteiner. My kids still talk about it today.
Actually, yeah.
And it's the best place to take your when you have kids, the best place to take kids.
And do you
ever.
know what? That hotel as well for like mums, they had like feeding rooms. They had a room that had nappies in it and
had food for babies.
formula, food for babies. And I'm like,
amazing.
that's such a good,
Yeah.
because, you're at this resort that's kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's no shops around. It's like, if you run out of nappies, like, I'm kind of screwed. But they had that room there and it was just so accessible and so easy for a mum, to go there and stay and not have to worry about, running out of nappies or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's my favourite.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And that had like kids pools, kids club, then it had like adult pools. It was just like
babysitting. It was good.
It had
But it's
everything.
all about the experiences that
Yeah.
they bring into the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my kids still talk about it to this day.
Yeah.
Every day they're like, can we go to Falkenstein? I'm like, well, it's on the other side of the world, but one day.
I never even knew kids clubs even like existed really. And then we went there and I was like, this is the best idea I've ever.
Yeah.
You can drop your kids off, see you later, we'll be at the pool for 5 hours and we'll come pick you up later. It's like, this is amazing. You can
Not a
take your
family
kids on a
holiday 'cause you're
holiday
dumping.
and just get rid of them.
Perfect.
Even though I love them to death, but
Yeah.
you just need that couple of hours
Yeah.
just to relax, But,
like it.
we'll see.
Yeah. But no, thank you so much for coming on. And I understand like you're very busy. So taking the time to come out and into the studio, it's been good. And I loved hearing all the different things.
And the inside scoop.
Inside scoops.
I can't wait to tell everyone about the bar fridge and the duct tape.
Do you have a picture of the furniture on the roof?
I don't. I changed phones. Okay. But I wish
I
I
need
did.
to see that one. That's a good one.
I'm sure we could Google it somewhere and we'd find something.
But no, thank you so much for coming
thank
on.
you,
It's been
Michelle.
great.
And
Thank
we
you.
can't wait to see your future and see where you grow and move to. Who knows? We might see you in another country in a few years.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I really wanted to say thank you as well for the space that you're giving women to chat about, their careers. I think it's fantastic and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank
It's been
you.
awesome. Yeah, we love it. We
Yeah,
love
that's
talking
good.
to different women and meeting different people, and it's crazy listening to everyone's different stories. And I just love.
I've learned so
hearing
much,
about
but
it.
I never
Yeah.
even ever thought about working in like hospitality or hotels. Like it was
Yeah.
never like, part of my. But just listening to that, I'm like, I think I really would enjoy that. I might change my career now.
I actually have said previously, I reckon I'd kill it in the hospitality industry. But I don't.
I'm just intrigued by it now. It's like
future.
I'm going to analyze everything when I go to the next hotel.
Next time I go to Rachel's house, her house is going to be like a hotel. Welcome to.
Can I check you in?
The TV, the minibar, it's all here.
I'll be judging Rachel next
I'm not
time.
taking things from hotels and installing them at my house. Is that what you're trying to say?
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.